Well, welcome back to the channel, guys. Thank you very much for joining us on this episode 1 part 2 of the council, which is dragging me in even more and getting very exciting.
Lives of the Noble Greeks and Romans by Plutarch, a biography of the great men.
So it wants us to take the book. That is what we're going to do, and we find out that it is a manuscript. These can help us in turn level up our skill points to achieve better answers in the future. So now let's make our way over to the fire and meet the rest of the guests.
I thought my chimney was big, but this one is beyond belief.
It's the least one can say. I've been longing for a warm fire for ages.
Since I set foot on the island, I haven't ventured more than 2 yards away from it.
Have you also just arrived?
Oh, late morning, I'd say.
Louis, come join us. Monsieur, may I introduce you to Monseigneur His Eminence, Cardinal Piaggi. He joins us straight from Rome.
Oh, just call me Your Eminence. It's simpler.
George Washington, President of the United States of America.
Delighted at last to make your acquaintance, Mr. President.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. President. Louis Maurras de Richet. It is an honor to meet you.
Young man, let's keep it simple, please. Let us forget our fancy titles. Nice to meet you, Louis.
I should imagine you never thought you'd be in such company.
I must admit that I didn't. It's the first time that I've ever met so many illustrious personalities.
And you haven't seen anything yet. Generally, when Lord Mortimer organizes one of his receptions, there are over a dozen people here.
They can't all be here yet, and you'll see, most of the time there's only the upper crust.
And I noticed you were already getting to know His Eminence at the entrance. It's the perfect place to build up a network. What were you talking about, if you forgive my indiscretion?
One of two choices. We're not going to go with the letter at the moment in time.
At the risk of disappointing you, we weren't conspiring in our corner, sir. His Eminence was simply telling me that he knew my mother and how much he held her in high esteem.
It so happens that Monsieur de Richet's mother is to join us.
Oh, pity. No scrumptious gossip or juicy tidbits, unmentionable secrets, or even money matters. But you'll see, it will come. Despite all the goodwill in the world, you can't stop people scheming left and right around here.
Speak for yourself, sir.
Well, my friends, do any of you know the reason why we're here this time?
Not in the slightest. As for me, I've been invited by Sir Holm, a close friend of Lord Mortimer, but I do not know the reason why.
You see, Louis, every time Lord Mortimer organizes a reception, he always finds a moment to set up a chat with all the guests.
During which time we remake the world.
Accompanied by gallons of absinthe and cussing. I'll leave you to imagine the result.
So, if I understand rightly, Monsieur de Richet, you've come out here to join your mother. For what reason, exactly?
Let's be honest and say she's gone missing.
Lord Mortimer asked me to drop everything and come find my mother, who seems to have disappeared during her stay here.
Ah.
I took the first boat, and here I am.
I'm so sorry.
Don't be, sir. It's not your fault.
Seriously, though, I know your mother well. Stay behind with me afterwards, and we'll take a moment to speak about her.
So here comes our detective skills in action, and we've got to check what's up with this guy.
Good Lord. Washington is wearing the emblem of the Grand Master of the Golden Order. It's the highest distinction of the order in the United States. It puts him on par with my mother. He must really know his stuff when it comes to the occult.
Good evening, my friends.
Holy shit. That's the man from my vision.
An urgent case has delayed our host, Lord Mortimer. He can't be present this evening, and he sends his deepest apologies.
He's asked me here and he hasn't even turned up? Great start.
We're going to get some more information about him.
Do you know that man?
Sir Gregory Holm, an English aristocrat. Very influential. He's also close to Lord Mortimer. So don't be surprised if he acts like he's at home.
And now, my dear guests, a light meal is served in the small salon. For those who would like to, you're invited to follow me into the next room.
My dear fellow, you must have read my thoughts. I shall follow.
We'll have to be careful not to make too much noise. One of Lord Mortimer's guests is relaxing.
Oh, we shall be quiet.
Don't take it the wrong way, Sir Holm, but I have already eaten. Thus, I shall be happy to remain by the fireside.
If you don't mind, Gregory, I should like to keep Mr. Washington company.
Please feel at home. And you, sir?
If I stay with Washington, we'll be able to speak about my mother. But on the other hand, I'd like to learn more about this home. I saw him in my vision.
You can really tell it's putting you on the edge straight away. I want to choose both of them, but I need to learn more about home.
My vision is more important. Let's follow home.
I'll follow you, sir. Mr. Washington, I hope to speak with you at greater length on another occasion. Emily, please excuse me, but I would like to speak to Sir Holm. I shall see you later.
My friend, I hope our dear Giovanni is well.
The troubles in France have fatigued him, but he will recover slowly. Do not fear. He apologizes for remaining in Rome. The voyage was too much for him.
And right he was too. The mildness of the Mediterranean, eh? Come, sit down and have something to eat, my friend. You look rather pale. Excuse me, sir. I have been neglecting my duty. I haven't introduced myself. Sir Gregory Holm, an old friend of Lord Mortimer's.
A real pleasure, sir.
You who must be well used to the court of France. How do you find this peaceful little haven?
Charming if I hadn't come here for disturbing reasons.
Yes, I heard the news. What a story.
Indeed. I wanted to ask you.
So we're going to try and see if we can get any more information out of him.
Would you have any information about the disappearance of my mother?
Very little, I'm afraid, my young friend. Your mother came at the invitation of Lord Mortimer. Then one fine day, we couldn't find her anywhere.
That's it?
As I said, I don't know very much. Lord Mortimer had the entire area searched immediately. We found no clue as to her disappearance. But I am convinced that as soon as Lord Mortimer becomes available, he will explain the situation.
Thank you for your answers, Sir Holm. But I beg your pardon. I get the impression I know you. Have we met?
Except in my dreams, of course.
Not that I remember, young man. Perhaps you're mistaking me for another member of the Chamber of Lords. What with the wig and the powder, it wouldn't be the first time.
No, you were definitely the one I saw threatening my mother.
I thought... Never mind. It'll come back to me. Would you allow me one last question, sir? I don't want to take up all your time.
Please, go ahead. What do you want to know?
Again, we're just getting into this game. 4 choices to choose from. I'm going to go with the link between Hillsborough.
Sir, do you know Emily Hillsborough?
Oh, Madame la Duchesse. Of course. It was I who invited her to the island.
Do you know of any link between her and my mother?
Not really, no. They may well have met at the court of King George, but I can't be sure about that.
No dispute between them, then?
Not to my knowledge, no.
And even if Duchess Hillsborough is a complex woman to understand, I honestly can't imagine her in a conflict with the famous Sara de Ricci.
Elizabeth! I should have insisted that you rest in your room.
Do you want me to call someone?
Let's risk it and take care of it.
Let me handle this. I'm used to this kind of thing.
Thank you, Mr. Duché.
Miss, can you hear me?
Leave me.
And of course we're going to use our skill.
Her breathing is becoming stable and... her heart rate too.
Pale complexion, thin, broken nails, an enormous scar on her temple, tattoos on her hands. I don't know what happened to you, Missy, but it looks like you've been through hell.
Can you tell me something about her?
Playing it safe, we're going to ask who is she.
Who is this young lady?
Elizabeth Adams. She's come to the island for a course of treatment, to rest.
For a course of treatment?
That's right. Sea air can do wonders. Are you all right, Elizabeth? Do you feel any better?
When did she arrive?
4 days ago.
Okay. My mother had already gone missing.
Detective time at the ready.
She's just regained consciousness and she immediately reaches for her brooch? I don't know exactly what it means to her, but obviously it's got to be something important.
Are you all right, Elizabeth? You gave us quite a fright.
Take it easy, miss.
Let me. I just need to get back to my room.
Of course, my dear. Go ahead.
You saw it, didn't you?
Pardon me?
I segni della bestia.
Sorry, Your Eminence. I don't speak Italian.
Forget it. It doesn't matter.
Gentlemen, it's getting late. It is time for everyone to go to bed. It has been a long day.
And as you notice, we're missing opportunities depending on the skills we haven't chose. But I'm sure we'll build them all up to be able to understand more soon.
It's all the more delicate.
I'll see what I can do, but the case I'm on at the moment might well leave me with very few opportunities.
Obviously, while we were gone, they were talking about something. Had we chose to stay with them, we may have known.
Well, I am impressed with all this splendor.
But don't spend too much time with Mr. Washington, my dear, or you'll lose your pretty accent. You seem to be intrigued by that statue.
Absolutely. It is remarkable.
And again, using our observation.
Oh, it's naughty to tell lies. Bet my life that you were talking about something totally different from the decoration of the manor. But to find out what, I should have stayed with them. Too bad.
Lord Mortimer is fond of atypical works of art. I won't disguise the fact that I find it all a little megalomaniacal. But I must say, he does have some outstanding pieces.
Sir Holm, who was that young lady with you?
Elizabeth Adams, Mr. President. She would have liked to have stayed with us, but the poor thing is exhausted.
Elizabeth Adams?
And while we don't know what they were talking about, we can still observe their actions.
Just mentioning Elizabeth totally changed Washington's attitude. Looks like he just saw a ghost.
Miss Adams is here to rest. You have perhaps already come across her in the corridors. She arrived a few days ago.
I perceived her, but we weren't introduced.
Rest assured, she is not here for the same reasons as yourselves. Consequently, I'm counting on your indulgence.
Final observation now, let's see what we can find.
Washington looks surprised, but Holmes doesn't seem to see it. I wonder if he's being polite or if he really doesn't see his discomfort.
On that note, it's very late. You must be exhausted. The servant will accompany you to your rooms.
Ladies, gentlemen, I bid you all good night. Mr. President, Your Eminence, Duchess, you have the same rooms as usual. You, Monsieur de Richet, will find your room at the end of the corridor.
Well, my friends, I am bone tired. I am off to my bed. See you in the morning.
Good night, sir. I shall do likewise.
Louis, I shall see you in the morning. Sleep well.
Good night. See you tomorrow.
Oh man, it's been quite a day. Right, where is my room?
So we're just told our room is at the end of the corridor.
Duchess Emily Hillsborough.
The good thing is we can click on the room signs and we're able to see which room's whose.
Duke Manuel Godoy.
Now it is quite a big corridor to get used to. Once you do get used to it, becomes more easier. So I've skipped ahead to our room. You can find various items, but apart from that, enter inside.
Right. So what shall I do with this letter? It might be about my mother's disappearance. But if I open it, I'll be betraying Piaggi's trust. What should I do?
It's too early on. We need to stay on his good side for now, so we're going to leave the letter closed.
Damn. Can't wait to open it, but I gave my word to Piaggi, so... Too bad. I'll wait until I hand it to Mother.
Wow. Nice room. Mortimer sure doesn't do things halfway.
Now there's a few things in the room, boxes you can open with special skills. Apart from that, we're just going to end the night here.
Saturn devouring his son. Again? I saw the same theme in the hall. I wouldn't like to be his son. Saint Jerome and the Angel. Yet again, art with political undertones with an image of a saint hearing voices.
So now, as you see, we're going into the other little part of the room, and then he automatically goes to bed. This brings us to the end of the night and the end of our first part in the story. What I really like about this is it gives you an evaluation at the end. So what you've succeeded in, what you didn't do, and alternative paths. This is going to be very good to see what you could have done different next time. Thank you guys for watching and staying tuned. Check out some of my other videos. I'll be back every week with a new upload, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe. Big thank you to my guys who are always supporting the channel and staying with us till the end.